About 30 years ago that I bought this property, and when they originally landscaped the back, there were no rocks here, and that hill just cascaded down into the yard, down to about that point there. And our yard was not that big because of the slope of the hill, and because I had kids and wanted to make the most of our area, I decided I would landscape this. So I went out and picked up field stones out of farmers' fields, anywhere where I could get them free, and then terraced this for 3 terraces. But after 30 years, and this being a southern exposure, we get a lot of frost, and the frost will tend to push the rocks out, and they tend to fall down, and ants come and take the sand and cause it to cascade. And so you can see that it's not just overgrown, but we have a lot of cases here where the rocks are being pushed out from those levels, and I have to go and redo them. Last summer I went and redid the bottom terrace, which is the easiest one. This summer I'm going to see if I can get at least the second and maybe even the third terrace done on this. And it's about 9 feet to the peak. It took forever to do it. Quite a story here. Took flat stones to make the landing here. That stone there, it's actually quite about as deep as it is wide, and it's about over 300 pounds for that. And it was so heavy, I couldn't pick it up. I couldn't even roll it. All I could do was move one side to the next. I got it at a gravel pit that I found this thing, so I got a tilting trailer and was able to walk each side of that stone until I got it onto the back of the trailer, and then I loaded the front of the trailer down with rocks until the trailer leveled itself off, and then I was able to walk that over to where it had to be, right over onto the trailer, and then get it home here. And then the end of our driveway was down there. I laid down 2x4s and walked that thing along the 2x4s until we finally got it over here. It actually took me 2 days to get this thing set, to walk it over and to get it set in here. For the steps, these are old creosote beams from a railroad trestle that go all the way up to the top. And then we've got 3 levels here, and this level faces east, and so it doesn't get the winter frost problem as much. It gets a little bit, but not as much. And I've got some stones down here that I'm going to be using for extending this walkway. I'd like to eventually extend this walkway over to those stones there. And you can see, let me give you another scan of this. All that work. It's beautiful when it's all cleaned up. Now this area here, we had for many years, the ground was just sloped up to the side of the garage here, and that tapered down. You can actually see where the ground used to be. And we could never grow anything here because of the amount of pine needles that came down, and the sun was blocked by the side there, by the garage. So nothing would grow here. It was just always a mess. So we decided we'd dig this out and poured a slab into here, and had to put new siding down all the way down because this is where the ground used to be, up to here. And then we went and took stones and terraced this, and that was a bit of work, but it turned out really beautiful. And then I extended the rock wall down here, and I had some flat stones and made steps going up, and that turned out really good. There's no cement in here. This is all just rocks and dirt and gravel. And then I put flat stones in here, and this is stuff that I've just picked up from gravel pits and in my travels all over the US and Canada, picking up flat stones wherever I could find it. And it turned out really good. Let me pull back a little bit and let you see this. Lots of work, but it's pretty. It was an interesting story last summer when I was digging those stones up, the bottom stones, which are the largest ones most of them were buried at least a third the way, some of them even halfway down. Over the 30 years they'd settled into the ground, and so I had to dig them out of the holes that they had sunk into and level the thing off better. And I found one stone that, because of the frost had been working on it, it was splitting. And I took the stone, and this is actually the stone here, and you can see how it was starting to split. And what I did is I took nails, and where it was splitting, I drove nails along the side here, big spikes, and started hammering them in. And as I did, it started to split layers off of it. And I got, this is the main rock, but I also got that piece off of it and that piece off of it. They're about 2 inches thick each, but I was able to use those nails to cause the cracks to spread and to get those off. So it's like, so it was no longer a foundation stone under the rock wall, it became paving stones for the rockway. Now around the house, these stones here, I used to travel all over the US and Canada with my trucking business, and these stones here are actually from New Brunswick, Canada. And one of these stones, and I'm not sure which pieces it is, it could be that piece, and another piece of it. It was actually one slab that was coming out of the diggings of the side of a highway, and I thought I could take the entire slab, and was working it toward the trailer. Realized I couldn't lift it up to my trailer, so I had to break the slab into 3 pieces, and that's how I got it home. But these are all that I found. These are rocks that I found along the side of the highways or cascading out of areas where they were digging. And so I brought these in, and these are all from US and Canada. Some fascinating story here. This was, I think it was Kettle River, Washington. I had a day off there, and I saw where they had dug up on the side of a mountain and had bulldozed the rocks into the river, that there were these beautiful flat rocks, but where they had pushed them over the edge and they had hit other rocks, they had broken into too small of pieces. But when I looked down into the river, there were pieces of stone that had landed in the water and had settled to the bottom of the river, and they were still in nice good pieces, but they're in 10 to 20 feet of water. Unfortunately, I had my snorkeling equipment with me and I had a day off, so I literally went rock picking in the bottom of the river. I'd go down about 10 to 20 feet and take these rocks, and I couldn't swim completely to shore in one trip, so I'd pick them up and I'd set them closer to the shore than where I was at, and making piles underneath the water. And then from those piles, I was able to get them to the shore, set them on the banks. And when I got that pile made, and then I took and carried them up the embankment, which is about 100 feet at a 45-degree angle, up to where the edge of the road was, and I set them on the edge of the road. And then from the edge of the road, I carried them over to my truck. But yeah, they ended up to be pretty good stones. You can see some more here. Some of the beautiful black flat ones there. But that was quite an adventure of a lifetime, going rock picking into 10 to 20 feet of water. And I have 2 sides of the house that are done this way. And let me just take you around. About every 10 years you actually have to redo the entire thing because of ants that make messes in there, and then stuff that decomposes in there. Yeah, every one of these rocks has a story, and unfortunately my memory does not allow me to remember what the story is behind every one of them. Yeah, here we go. Even into the cat cage there. And then I had some odd sizes and shapes, and we just took those and put them around the back. But there it is. That's my stonework.